Hello, my name is Mike McAllister. I'm the editor-in-chief here at FreightWaves. I'd like to welcome you today for the 8-day Global Supply Chain Week. Today, the focus is on automotive supply chain, which, like everything else, has seen significant disruptions throughout the entire network due to the COVID-19 pandemic. For this fireside chat, I'd like to welcome in Jaymi Wilson, the Vice President of Strategy, Marketing, and Corporate Communications for Gentherm. Jaymi has been with the company since 2013 and most recently served as Vice President and General Manager of Gentherm's medical business before moving into her current role. Jaymi graduated from the University of Michigan with a Bachelor Science degree in Mechanical Engineering and then earned her MBA from Eastern Michigan University. So that makes her both a Wolverine and an Eagle. Welcome to the chat, Jaymi.
Hi, Mike. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Before we get into the heart of the discussion, why don't you give us a brief background of Gentherm and highlight some of the company's biggest success stories?
Sure. Thanks, Mike, for asking. So I'm excited to talk about the changes in the automotive industry and excited to talk about Gentherm. To give you a little bit of background on Gentherm, we're the global leader in thermal technology solutions. We have a team of approximately about 11,000 employees globally in multiple locations, and we are traded on the NASDAQ as a public company. Our products are mainly targeted towards the automotive industry. You may be most familiar with some of the creature comfort products in your vehicle, such as a heated and cooled seat, a heated steering wheel, and we have neck warmers that are fabulously comfortable. And this is where our main business is coming from. However, we also have other business lines that are just as interesting. We have our battery performance solutions business, and these are technologies that are really focused toward the electrification of vehicles. So we have battery thermal management solutions. We also have built strong software and electronics capabilities to support our internal businesses, but also are showing to have fantastic solutions and problem-solving value props for our customers. A key differentiator, and maybe a surprise to you, Mike, is that we also have a medical division. So we have a growing medical business of patient thermal management products. And these products you would see used in the OR during surgery to keep a patient's temperature normalized, as well as in an ICU setting, an intensive care unit setting. And this really provides a unique position for Gentherm in a market between automotive and medical, very focused on the human being. And talking about that human-centric approach, the future of Gentherm, we see as in the rethinking completely the way that the climate is managed in an EV, in an electric vehicle. We're currently implementing what we believe is a revolutionary solution, which is a microclimate in the vehicle. So a microclimate would be just managing the climate system very individual to the occupant and the occupant's preferences. And what that allows is a more efficient use of the vehicle HVAC system. And this is going to have an impact on energy consumption and increased range for the end consumer.
That's fantastic, Jaymi. Thanks. So for this chat, the topic is how electrification will radically change the automotive supply chain. It's a fascinating topic, especially considering all the pledges that the various car manufacturers are making. Less than a month ago, GM pledged to become completely carbon neutral by 2035. Meanwhile, Ford announces plans to invest $29 billion toward electric and autonomous vehicles through 2025. The tailpipe, it seems, will eventually be obsolete. From a consumer standpoint, the sale of plug-in new passenger cars achieved 4.2% of the global market share in 2020. That's up from 2.5% in 2019. But obviously, the numbers are growing fast. In the UK, 13.7% of all new cars purchased in January had a plug. In Germany, it was 21.7%. And I remember the last time I purchased a car, which was about 27 months ago, I concluded that it would be the last time I bought a car powered by gas engines. Certainly, the role of suppliers already seems to be changing too. From Gentherm's perspective, what are the top priorities moving forward, especially in regards to the changing evolution in the role of suppliers as the market shifts towards electric and autonomous vehicles?
Yeah, that's a great question, Mike. Let me first talk about what the shifts we see in the automotive industry. And then I think there's even another layer about the shifts that are happening in the industry and the value chain. So first, when you think about the focus of the supply chain and the development of vehicles, it was previously focused on the drivetrain, performance of the vehicle, power, right? You can maybe think about those muscle cars, right? And when I go back and I think about the commercials that I watched or talked about cars when I entered into the industry a few decades ago, that was a lot of the conversation. And over recent years, it's shifted, right? And granted, all of those things are very important, but the conversations now with our customers are really about the customer experience, the consumer experience, right? And the demands for what they're looking for in a vehicle are less about feeling the power and gas mileage, but it's more about how are they spending their time in the vehicle, right? Is it enhancing their everyday life? So the topics that, we see the shift is going in is comfort, convenience, health, wellness. And so when we look at our legacy business, those heated seats and cooled seats and the heated steering wheel, that's perfectly positioned to bring the next level of solutions to the vehicle, in order to serve the shift of focus. What's interesting, though, is those are all nice, and that's what we love to talk about, and that's what I talk about with my friends and colleagues when I share with them what we do as a business. But what's really interesting for the automotive customers is that range and energy efficiency is really a barrier to get the electrification adoption moving faster. The penetration of these vehicles, there's problems to solve there. And uniquely, these products help solve those problems. We actually help the energy consumption of the vehicle, even as they stand today. And then, we're designing our climate sense system to help do that even further in the future. So, I think that's the shift there is really dynamic. Additionally, with the electrification of vehicles, the OEMs are facing new challenges, and the architectures are different, and the battery manufacturers, are constantly changing, and it's very dynamic of how they're developing their systems. And it seems like, every turn and every change that they're making in either the architecture or in the battery, it's moving so fast. There's always an opportunity for the supply base, traditional and non-traditional, to bring solutions to the table. And it's because of those challenges and that fast-paced movement of both the OEM architectures as well as the battery manufacturers, the conversations have been so dynamic that we've had to bust out of more the traditional ways of working together that we did in the past.
Well, that's a great segue to my next question, because I wanted to talk to you about silos. Why do you think they work in the production of internal combustion engines, but not necessarily with electric and autonomous vehicles?
Well, I think that the silos worked because that's the way the work was done in the past with the players that were at the party, call it. And so when we look at the industry landscape, it's been evolving pretty rapidly. So the traditional OEMs and our traditional customers, they're seeing new competition as well as business collaborators, right, from non-traditional industries. So think about the stories that you read in the news about Google or Uber, right? These are non-traditional companies. And so this is driving a complete automotive ecosystem redesign. And so what we're seeing is the traditional value chain of the tier 3 to the tier 2 to the tier 1 to the OEM. It's completely being disrupted. So a couple of ways that we're observing that and actually participating in that is across the tiers, it no longer is that straight line. The tier companies are collaborating and working together. In Gentherm, for example, we have a collaboration partnership with Lear Seating, right, who would be traditionally in that our tier one customer, right, to the OEM. But because we saw the opportunity to work together to bring very unique solutions to the market, now we have this strong collaboration. So that's one example. We not only see a lot of this cross tier or cross value chain collaboration, but we're also seeing a lot of cross industry collaboration. So when you think about industries that are playing, in the automotive space very successfully, we have the software and the IT companies, consumer electronics companies that traditionally were not working in the automotive industry, but are playing a major part now. And so one of the other industries that's cross-collaborating with automotive that we see very often is the medical industry, right? We talked about that health and wellness piece. And so I mentioned earlier, we have a medical business. And so that's really an interesting and a fun way that we're participating in this new norm in the automotive industry, is bringing this medical expertise into our offerings in the medical space through human thermophysiology, understanding biologically, what are the indicators for that human-centric comfort and convenience that we can provide intelligently into the automotive space.
I would think having a medical background that you have with working previously as a medical officer, and then obviously Gentherm's interest in medicine, that would help set Gentherm apart from a lot of the companies involved. I mean, I can't imagine that a lot of companies have that kind of medical side to them.
Yeah, Mike, it's a differentiator for us. We see lots of synergies across the automotive space and the medical space, especially when we're talking about a human-centric approach to thermal management in the vehicle. And in the medical space, think about the scale that automotive has and the speed of the technology development. It really is a symbiotic relationship between those two industries for Gentherm. And we find that our customers in both of the industries are as excited as we are about how these cross-industry collaboration activities are really bringing value to both of the markets.
Let's talk about the climate sense system that Gentherm has. It seems to embody the spirit of breaking down the silos, as well as obviously comfort to the driver and the passengers. Uses an algorithm that links, balances, and fine-tunes all the critical healing and cooling elements together. That's obviously breaking down silos and working as a collaborative effort. Jaymi, why don't you please take us through how the climate sense system works and how it really adheres to the spirit of the industry synergy that's moving forward?
Oh, Mike, if I could show you a vehicle or a demonstration, that would be the best way to do it, because it really is all about the experience, right? And so when we focus with that, imagine, working out in the gym, right? Or in your home gym and having to get in the car in a hot day in Florida where you are, and knowing that, it's a sunny day and your car knows it's a sunny day, your car knows that you've just worked out, and intuitively through the algorithm, it knows your preferences. It knows biologically some of the very intrinsic data points about how your body manages temperature. And so with all of that intelligence, you'll get into a vehicle and you will have the experience enhanced by exactly what you need personally, of who you are and what your demographics are, what your personal preferences are, what the environment is, and your seat and additional effectors in the car will adjust to your preferences. So you get into the car and it's ready, and you have this nice sense of relief, and you'll have a pleasant drive. Or if you have a sore back, right? Like, as I get my years, I might, maybe the option that you choose is a therapy, right? To have that nice heat on your back. And so when you talk about the intelligence, very personalized and specific, and threading in that health and wellness piece, it can be hugely impactful. Now, let me layer on another one. It's an electric vehicle, Mike, that you're driving. And so you've got a drive, you got to drive, maybe not even across town, but you've got to go across the state line, or maybe you're going all the way down to the Keys. And you want to continue that comfort. Well, no worries, because the approach of the climate sense system is smart, and so it'll downgrade the HVAC system so that the energy consumption of your vehicle is optimized with your comfort. And that way you can have some really strong confidence that your range will be what you expect it to be without any compromise to your comfort. So, there's lots of elements here that are in play. You mentioned the algorithm. We have all of already the technologies that we currently have in the car, and we're taking that to the next level. Software that help with the personalization, digitalization. But let's talk about sustainability, right? All of this electrification and the CO2 impact is also reduced. So it really is a comprehensively feel-good system. Feel good for your body, feel good about the event of driving, and feel good about supporting sustainability efforts for our communities.
One thing you did mention too, and you've mentioned the word several times, is a collaborative effort. And I'm just curious, if companies aren't collaborating moving forward, then then they're losing out. I would think. Is that how you see it?
Absolutely. So, there's fun ways to talk about that, right? And you can talk about collaboration. We talk about the word coopetition, right? Cooperating with previously what you would maybe deem to be, your competitor. At the speed of which the industry is moving and the traditional skill sets that we've had, and how quickly we have to build new skill sets, and even thinking outside of the traditional competitor space, we talked about those cross-industry value propositions that we have to pay attention to in the market. I think for the betterment of the industry as a whole, this coopetition, if you will, cross-industry, cross-value chain collaboration is going to be a win-win for everybody. Because when we talk about the end goal in mind, it's really to serve all of the needs and demands of the consumer. And they're asking for all of these fantastic elements in a car, as well as wanting to accelerate the electrification of our automotive industry.
Well, it's been a great discussion, Jaymi. I appreciate it so much. I wanted to give you an opportunity if there was anything else you'd like to add about, what Gentherm is doing, or just an overall view of where you see the future headed.
No, Mike, thank you. It's been fun talking with you as well. I think we've really talked excitingly about how Gentherm is well placed to really take advantage of where the industry is going. We're excited to play a part in it. We're excited to help our customers and potentially our cooperators, our coopetition, solve problems that we're all facing in the industries with our unique experiences and our strengths, and allowing our teams to continue to bring value to the market. So thank you, Mike. It was really great to speak with you today.
Oh, I appreciate it. And I will tell you, next time I get into my car and I turn the heating element on, I will be thinking of Gentherm. Although it doesn't happen all that often in Florida, I have to say. So,
it feels great on a sore back, Mike.
It does, right? So, but no, it's been great. You guys are doing great things, and appreciate so much you taking the time to chat with us.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. We're sure having a lot of fun.
Okay, all the best to you and your team.
Thanks, Mike.